Hey, this is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. Now, who's ready for some fighting words? In this video, I want to talk about Chris Eubank Jr. Apparently, he's pulling out of the fight with Conor Benn. And I guess this is due to, well, let me say it like this. Chris Eubank Sr. is pulling Chris Eubank Jr. out of the fight. Now, I don't know how true this is. I don't know how true this is. It is Eubank Jr. and Sr. It could be a ploy. It could be a trick. Basically, it's over the weight limit, which is 157 pounds. Jr. has stated several times, I haven't been this weight since I was like 18. He's in his 30s. So he's like, I don't know how I'm going to handle this weight. I can only, rehydrate but so much. So I don't know how I'm going to handle this weight. Now, he has been saying all I need to be is 60%. Well, if you're dehydrated, if you're going to be depleted and not your best self, I guess you will be 60%. So here's my thing. Should it have been at 160, which would have just made sense? Yeah, it should have been. I do get the argument that you can't rehydrate up to a certain point because you are bigger than Conor. We do have to make this competitive. I personally think because of the skill level, Chris Eubank Jr. is going to mop the floor with Conor Benn. I love Conor Benn. I like his. I just like his fighting style. I think he's very fan pleasing, very aggressive. He reminds me a whole lot of his dad. I think he's a better boxer than his dad. But Chris Eubank Jr. is, I've always said he was special. And some people say he's average, or you can say whatever you want. You're talking about a guy who basically trained himself. That's pretty impressive to not have like somebody over you. And he had his dad over him, but that was more like contracts. Business. I'm talking about in the gym every day. That was just him pushing himself. That was him telling himself, I need to do this and I need to do that and I got to get this in, I got to get that in. That's pretty impressive. Let me just go here. I'm kind of all over the place, but let me go here. Do I agree with Senior, the father of Chris Eubank Jr.? Yeah, I agree with Senior in the sense that you have to understand, number one, he just lost his child. Number two, he's a fighter. And to those who don't know, remember the fight with Chris Eubank Sr. and Michael Watson. Michael Watson was never the same after that. So you're going to put my son in there, or my son's going to go, let me say my son's going to go in because nobody's forcing him. My son's going to go in there, not 100%, and he won't be able to rehydrate over like 165 pounds, but normally he'll probably show up like 170, 75 or something like that. Possibly even 180, I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, do I understand his argument? I absolutely do. I do understand the argument. And it doesn't matter if Conor is, naturally smaller than Chris. He still is a professional fighter and he knows how to throw a punch. And he's a heavy-handed fighter who knows how to throw a punch. So, yeah, I do see the concern. It's funny because I feel like if there were concern, it should be coming from the Benn side. But, I mean, you definitely wouldn't see any concern from them. That apple didn't fall far from the tree, so you don't have to worry about that side. But I listen. I'm sorry. I do agree with Senior. I don't agree with pulling the fight or pulling him out of the fight, and I hope he doesn't do that. I hope that hasn't been like officially anything that he's pulling out of the fight. But I do see the argument like maybe we can renegotiate and get this weight limit up a little higher. We can get it to at least, it's 3 pounds, 157. You might as well put it at 160. what difference does it make if who's going to be the smaller guy or who's going to be the weaker guy? We already know who's naturally the weaker guy. So what difference does it make if Conor can't make the weight? I'd rather Conor be 3 pounds light than Chris be 3 pounds light. Because Chris being 3 pounds light, let's just say Conor wins. Then it's going to be like, yeah, but he was half dead when he fought you. So you're not going to get the credit for that. Like, at least not for me, you're not going to get the credit for that. Because if he's half dead when he fights you, that's nothing to brag about. You didn't fight a complete 100% fighter. And I'm not talking about Chris saying all he needs is 60% on the night and he's going to be having sex with his girlfriend. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Chris being depleted. I'm talking about Chris being physically weak. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Chris not being able to eat what he wants to eat the day before. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And I think he has the right to listen, Chris signed whatever he signed, so you're a grown man. If your lawyers thought the contract was A-okay and you signed it, then they did. But I think as time went on, I think he thought to himself, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have signed that. Maybe we should have negotiated. Maybe we should have negotiated a little longer or, really looked at the terms of this fight, when it comes to the weight. But I think he was so impressed with the dollar signs, and like he said, he's being paid handsomely. And I think he was so impressed with the dollar signs that he didn't look at the fine print that said 157 pounds. And I think it's dawning on him now that, maybe. But again, it's the Eubanks, and maybe this is just a ploy. Maybe this is just a tactical mental trick to give Conor more confidence than what he already has. So that Conor could run across the ring and just guns a-blazing and Chris could spark him. It could be that as well. It actually could be that as well. Again, we're talking about the son of the tactician of all tacticians, Chris Eubank Sr. And this is his son. And he's been playing mind games and easily living up in Conor's head rent-free this whole time. I mean, he's eating buckets of chicken. He's telling Conor that, he's going to make love to his girlfriend. And, normally he would abstain from making love to his girlfriend. But because it's Conor he's fighting, he's only going to abstain 2 weeks. That's kind of insulting. He's telling Conor, I only need to be 60% to beat you in a physical altercation. That's kind of insulting. And all of this clearly gets to Conor. All of this clearly irritates Conor. And it's funny because when Conor was sitting with his dad, Nigel Benn, Nigel even stated that could just be like a mind game. Don't pay too much attention to that. And Conor's like, oh, I'm not. Clearly you are, because you brought it up. The interviewer did not bring it up. You brought it up. So clearly you are thinking about it. Clearly it is annoying you that maybe he's not showing you a certain level of respect. And you feel you should get it because you're an undefeated fighter. And rightfully so, you should get it. Just in general, you walking into the ring, you should get it. But this could all be a very well-calculated ploy by the Eubanks. Chris has stated that his dad, at least when they sat down for the gloves are off, that his dad has yet to be involved in anything. But again, that could also be a stage front from the Eubanks. Like it's kind of hard to know what's real and what's fictional when it comes to the Eubanks, because they are good at mind games. They play the mind games very well. And the Benns don't like to play the mind games. And they don't do very well in deciphering the mind games. They either take them for what they hear, or they flat out dismiss them. But they still kind of hold on to it a little bit, maybe for added fuel or something like that. So I don't know. I will keep you as posted as I'm posted. That's pretty much the topic of the day today, is that Chris Eubank Sr. is pulling Chris Eubank Jr. out of the fight. And I hope he can give a little bit more reasoning. If it is due to the loss of his son, I understand, but Your son's a fighter. And also, the reality is, to my knowledge, well, I don't know how much control Senior has over Junior in terms of like, you can't fight in that fight against Conor Benn at 157 pounds. And you know, Junior's like, okay, Dad, I won't fight at 157 pounds against Conor Benn. I don't know how much power he has over him. He's a grown man. So, but maybe he does. And if he does, you know, good on him for respecting his father. Again, I don't know. This could, in the back of my mind, I just feel as if this is a ploy. I feel like this is too big of a moment in boxing. I feel like this is too big of a fight to just let slip through our hands. So in the back of my mind, especially for Britain, in the back of my mind, I can't imagine this being 100% real. Or let me say it like this. I can't imagine this not being easily fixable. Those are my thoughts. Drop your thoughts down below. As always, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel.